perhaps learn from me and from us. In this way, we can live in tolerance and mutual understanding, so that the hatred that is often generated from these schisms, from this drama, will be away. I'm sure you've heard of many dramas that are happening in Speaker's Corner. People try to incite the Muslim youth who haven't been exposed to this onslaught attacks on the Quran by drilling holes in the Quran, desecrating the Quran, writing the Quran and making a covering of your shoes or eating the pages of the Quran. Come on, people. Those people who do that, you know, they are even worse than children in their behavior. Children don't do these things out of intellectual maturity. But those people who are adults and doing this, you know something is wrong in their intellectual faculty. They are almost on the border of being insane. This is a sign of insanity. This is not a sign where you are being civilized in your approach, in your discussion, in your engagement with the Muslims. If you want to criticize Islam, who's stopping you? Criticize. But is your criticism justified? Is your criticism valid? That is what we are here to discuss with you, along with you. Come and talk to us, oh, Islam is all about violence. Really? You as a Christian telling us Muslim, Islam is all about violence. And your book is all about violence. The whole Old Testament depicts God is a God of war, a man of war.
Jesus. It's Jesus.
He commands you to go and kill women, children, livestock,
Donkey.
babies. And yet you come and tell us Islam is violent? Where was the violence of Islam 200 years ago, 300 years ago? Why was Islam known then in Europe, elsewhere? Islam is the religion of peace. It's only in the modern times that people are saying Islam is violent because people are seeing Islam. Rather, some Muslims, a fringe group, taking on their own hands out of desperation, out of frustration, and then going about doing all these evil things, killing innocent people. But where was this happening 300 years ago? Where was this happening in Islamic Spain, where Muslims and Christians and Jews were living in harmony, in peace, together side by side? A church stood in front of the street on that side and a mosque on this side, and still there for hundreds of thousands of years.
Exactly.
Where did you have that tolerance? Because it was from Islam. Islam allowed this mutual tolerance. But when some people took the power and they dismantled the Islamic authoritative state version, where Islam was removed from the state implementation, and then other people took power, that's when you found that other people were committing violence against each other. But when Muslims were under the rule, the Jewish people, our cousins, they fled from the persecution and oppression of the Christians and came to live under Muslim rule. That's what we're talking about. So if you want to really criticize Islam, have a discussion with us and we will show you that your criticism is unjustified. And if there are valid criticism, like honor killing, which I would agree with you, there is no such thing in Islam, we can work together to remove this oppression in our communities. Just because something happens in your family, you kill them. Islam doesn't condone that.
Exactly.
That is indeed a valid criticism. But you can't throw the baby with the bathwater by blaming Islam through the actions of certain misguided Muslims here and there. In terms of percentage of the Muslim population, what percent do they occupy? Those fringe groups?
0.001%.
They're not even 1%.
Yeah.
And then you identify that as a trait of the Muslim community. So I don't want to make it too long, but I want to really invite people to come back to the understanding which will bring us closer. Not to be afraid of Islam because the media is totally somehow informing you with the negative image of Islam, and it consolidates you by the actions of the people that you see. We want you to investigate Islam from its own sources. Since when did you pick up a Quran and read the verses that you heard within the context? Since when you read the Quran and you said, actually, this is exactly what the Quran says, but what I heard is not what people are telling me. Did you do that? Have you read the biography of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? You consider him as an immoral person. You consider him not a role model for humanity. But what do you know about him? Other than what people are spreading lies and rumors and totally misinformation about him. When Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam opened up Mecca after the 10 years or 13 years of persecution, initially his life was in danger. So was his people.
Yeah.
Eventually he had to migrate to a place called Medina, Yathrib, to a different city. And when he had the political authority and the power, and he came and then opened up Mecca again, he conquered Mecca, if you want to use this word. The people who oppressed him, killed his people, people who murdered his people, what did he do to them? Did he massacre them all? Like they massacred him, his people, the Muslims? No, people. Go and find out from the historical records what happened. He gave them a general pardon, forgiveness. He gave them forgiveness.
I'm going to play Asr. Yeah? You can carry on.
Forgiveness. Who on earth would act like that other than someone who has been trained and molded and formed by the teaching and guidance of the Creator himself? So I'm afraid that you haven't studied our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as he should be studied. You have not studied the Quran. You pick up the Quran and read on the surface level, and you think you've understood it. We are merely asking you to read the Quran in the languages that you are able to, and consult as many translations as possible within that language. Then you can get the gist of the message. When the Quran says, when your parents attain old age, do not even say oof to them, but extend the wings of mercy and say, وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. Oh Allah, have mercy on them as they had mercy on us when we were young. We do not send our parents, our father and mother, when they reach old age, to old people's home. Where did the idea come from? Where did the idea come from that when your parents reach old age, you throw them away? And guess what? You suddenly remember, oh, I did not send the Christmas card last year. That's how you deal with your parents? This is the love and mercy that you talk about? Ignore me touching the mask, because I'm going to change it later. I'm not going to touch someone else's hands after that. So you talk about love and mercy, and yet you don't show to your parents? When the Quran says, be just and be upright in your testimony, even if it is against you and your own relatives. Did you know that? You have to stand upright and give true testimony with truthfulness and justice, even if it goes against you, your own interest and your family and your relatives. Can you get a better system of justice than this? So why do you think the Quran is something alien to you? Why do you think the Quran is something that doesn't have anything for you. The Quran says, "O people, do not insult other gods, false gods, lest they insult Allah." We do not have the right from Allah to insult other gods even though they are false. We can engage with you in a critical discussion, in a criticism, but we're not insulting you. We cannot insult Prophet Isa alayhi salam, Prophet Jesus Christ, the son of Mary, because if we did, our Islam will be at ruins. We cannot insult a prophet or a messenger that Allah, our God, has sent in the past. So when you realize Muslims cannot be like those Charlie Hebdos committing caricature of the religious figures, we can't do that. We can't do that about Moses, the prophet. We can't do that about Jesus, the prophet, Abraham, or any of the prophets of God. May God's peace be on them. We cannot mock them. We cannot be sarcastic in their teachings. The things that you have heard about the teachings of those prophets and messengers are perhaps coming from a religion which has been corrupted with. That is why you see those religions say Prophet Noah or Nuh alayhi salam slept with his daughters, a'udhu billah, when he was drunk or made drunk by his daughters. We don't believe that this is indeed a historical event as narrated in some of the books. These are lies that have been propagated in those books for theological reasons. God doesn't choose his prophets and messengers as guide to people and they themselves are misguided. Imagine people, I want to just engage with you now. Imagine you go to a doctor or you want to go to a doctor and you need a heart operation. You need a cardiac bypass. And you go to a doctor and that doctor you know is a fake one, doesn't know anything about medicine or surgery. Would you trust your life? Would you trust your life in that doctor to operate on your heart? I would not. Neither would you. Because you know this person would make your life and take your life, and in fact, bring your life into danger. Because that person is not someone who is knowledgeable in the art or science of surgery and medicine. Likewise, if God appointed prophets and messengers who themselves were drunk and misguided and committing all these evil things, who on the right mind, I'm not speaking to you, who in the right mind,
When Muhammad was thinking it was all right to
I do apologize for the screeching that you hear from those creatures of God on in the spa.
So you are talking about Muhammad when
So
he
I was
thought it
talking
all
about
right to
who
go to the top of a
in
tower.
their right mind,
Is that the case?
who in the right mind
With your prophet,
would believe in a prophet of God
Muhammad
who
believed.
himself
Muhammad believed.
is
Muhammad
sleeping
believed.
with his own daughters.
Muhammad believed.
Do you see something?
How in right mind?
There are
you
some
would
people-
ever think it is quite okay to go
do
to
you
the
mind
top
go
of a
to your own
child.
place?
No, sir. This is speaker's corner.
I don't like
Yes,
you coming
this
here,
is
you go over
speaker's
there.
corner.
You
So,
cannot
so
tell
basically,
me
cannot
to
dictate
understand.
anybody.
these people
So can you
have
tell
become
me,
heckless.
Do you have a problem?
These
when
people
your prophet
have
at the top of a child?
relegated themselves to the level of heckless because no one listens to them. No Muslims giving them any time. No Muslims are discussing with them and they feel empty in their hearts.
So Muslims are
They have to
scared
come
of
to our platform to
Muslims
talk
are
about
scared
it.
of Christians.
So now, as we were saying,
Why you are
We-
scared of Christians?
we
Why
as
you are scared of
Muslims
Christians?
are telling you,
Because you don't have
would you
anything
follow
to share
would you
with
go to the
Christians.
top
a
of a
prophet
child?
or a
Would you have
messenger
sex with
Accept
a
the
child?
lie
Someone
of God,
who
lie of
sleeps
Allah,
with his own
and
daughters?
lie of Muhammad.
Sir,
So we say
Would you
those
actually-
people,
I am
those
very-
people
I am very much fun
who have
about it.
According to Quran,
intellectual maturity,
according to
we
Quran,
invite you.
Muhammad is a false prophet.
We invite you to be people of knowledge. We invite you
Muhammad is a false
to be
prophet.
the people of
Allah
intellect.
is a pagan god.
And
According
we
to
invite
Quran,
you to the people be
According
the
to
people of
Quran,
sincerity.
Allah is a
Would
pagan
you
So
god.
say
that
to the child,
if you are
And
sincere,
Quran is a
then
false
you would
book.
know that God would guide
would you
those
accept
who are
Quran is a
sincere.
false book.
According
And
According
you
to
would
Quran.
know that God
Would you
would
accept the
certainly
child?
give ways of guidance
I will
those
talk to you later.
who seek
with
His
the
guidance.
child?
Now,
Would
excuse me.
you
Ignore her.
would
Don't even
you
show this picture.
follow a
No.
man who sucked the tongue of its child?
This picture looks like Hatun.
Would you do that?
That's Hatun in the picture.
Shame
That's
on
Hatun in the
Would you
picture.
do that?
Shame on
That's
Muhammad.
Muhammad.
No,
Shame
this is
on
Hatun.
Muhammad.
Hatun is a beard.
Shame on Muhammad.
According to Islamic
So
Shame
sources,
now, people, I would
Shame
like
on
you to
Muhammad.
understand
Shame on Muhammad.
the picture that you
Shame
see
on Muhammad.
is the picture of this lady.
He is
That's
a
her.
Would you do this? Would
child.
you
If you want to
molester.
imagine who this is,
Child
that's her.
molester.
That's her.
A
Now,
child molester, a
I
prophet.
will remind you, Muhammad.
we want to invite you.
Prophet.
Would you practice?
Shame on
We
him.
want to invite you to
Would you
worship
practice this?
a God that doesn't become a rat. Don't worship a God that bemes a rat.
If you are,
Don't worship a God
if you
that
are
becomes
following a
a
sunnah,
monkey.
Worship a God.
If you
who
are
comes
following
in the
a
kids
sunnah of this
platform.
Don't
Don't
worship
worship a man who
A
goes
God
to the top of
that
a
becomes
child.
an elephant.
if you are following the sunnah of this prophet,
Don't worship a God
then
that becomes
this prophet
a monkey.
is a child molester.
Don't worship a God that becomes
This
a man.
prophet is
Don't worship a
womanizer.
God that becomes a woman with a beard or otherwise.
Would you have sex with a child, sir?
When
Would
he
you
had a
consider
sex with Maria,
Worshipping.
Sex with a
he
child.
was beaten.
Would you consider
Muhammad got beaten.
worshipping this table?
Muhammad got beaten.
Would
When
you
he had
consider
a sex with Maria.
worshipping my coat?
Because of the
Brother,
immorality.
why are you engaging
He
with
was
me?
condemning simple prophets because
Allah
of
has
their
created
immorality.
many creatures,
So therefore,
right?
I am asking you.
You do
would
not
you
have to be
follow a prophet
engaging with every
who
single
thought it
creatures of
was
God,
alright
right?
to climb the
Some
top of a
creatures
child?
Allah endowed with knowledge and wisdom,
Follow a prophet.
intelligence and
Who thought it
guidance.
was alright to let
Others,
you break out
they
the
chose their own
marriage of
misguidance.
my son.
Some creatures
we do?
are
That
Right.
I can
created
have sex
with
my
So-
no knowledge.
No.
So now,
You follow.
as we are,
Because
brother,
they themselves
brother.
say,
Who
Ma
can
ana
suck the
Bukhari.
breast of
so I'm going to give her a rest here
That
because
creature
you have
says,
enough
Ma ana
speaking in
Bukhari.
yours, and I apologize.
I am
أقول قولي هذا
Jahil, so
واستغفر
are
الله
my
لكم.
nations are Jahil.
السلام على من اتبع الهدى.
Sir, answer my question. Would you
Even
have sex
Prophet
with a
himself
child?
says,
Are you condemning
Ma
your
ana
prophet
Bukhari.
for what
I
he's
am
done?
Jahil.
Sir, are you condemning
Even
your
Prophet
what
says,
he's done?
Ma
Please
ana
don't run
Bukhari.
away.
I'm
Please
Jahil.